Hello everyone, this is the third lecture of water and we will start this lecture with water of crystallization. So the question is, what is water of crystallization? Water of crystallization is the fixed amount of water which is associated with the crystals of a substance and is the integrated part of that substance. For example, CuSO4.5H2O. So you can see it is hydrated copper sulfate and the 5 water molecules are combined with copper sulfate. So therefore these 5 water molecules are known as water of crystallization. Similarly, we have some other examples like Na2SO4.10H2O. So here we have 10 water molecules with sodium sulfate. So these water molecules are known as water of crystallization. So hope you have understood water of crystallization. Now the next topic is hydrated and anhydrated substances. So the substances which consist of water of crystallization are known as hydrated substances. For example, the copper sulfate. So it contains pentahydrate. Pentahydrate means it has 5 molecules of water. So it is a hydrated substance. Similarly, Na2SO4.10H2O. So it also have water of crystallization. So this substance is known as hydrated substance. But when a hydrated substance loses its water of crystallization, then it becomes anhydrous substance. For example, when we will heat copper sulfate, on heating it will give CuSO4 plus 5H2O. So this is hydrated copper sulfate while this is anhydrous copper sulfate. The difference between these is the hydrated copper sulfate is blue in color and it forms crystals, means it is a crystalline substance, while anhydrous copper sulfate is white amorphous powder. So remember, whenever a hydrated substance is heated and the water of crystallization is removed from it, it can be converted into anhydrous amorphous powder. So the next topic that we are going to start is efflorescent substances. So the efflorescent substances are those substances which, when exposed to the atmosphere, lose their water of crystallization and convert to the amorphous powder. For example, copper sulfate. So CuSO4.5H2O. It is an efflorescent substance. So whenever this substance is released to atmosphere, then it will lose its water of crystallization and will convert to the white amorphous powder. Similarly, we have a few examples. Na2SO4.10H2O. So it also loses its water of crystallization. So the substances which lose their water of crystallization on exposure to atmosphere, these substances are called efflorescent substances. Now the next topic is deliquescent substances. So the question is, what are deliquescent substances? So deliquescent substances are just opposite to those of efflorescent substances. Deliquescent substances are those substances which, when exposed to the atmosphere, they absorb the moisture from the atmosphere and get dissolved in it to form a saturated solution. For example, FeCl3, ferric chloride. Ferric chloride is a deliquescent substance. Similarly, NaOH, sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide is also a deliquescent substance. So the deliquescent substances, they get the moisture from the atmosphere when they are exposed to the atmosphere, and then they will get dissolved in it to form a saturated solution. So it means they will change their state from a solid substance, they will convert to the liquid state or their solution. Now the next topic is hygroscopic substances. The hygroscopic substances are quite similar to deliquescent substances with one difference. The hygroscopic substances are those substances which, when exposed to the atmosphere, absorb the moisture from the atmosphere but do not change their state. The deliquescent substances are those which when exposed to the atmosphere absorb the moisture and convert to the saturated solution. But these hygroscopic substances also absorb the moisture, but they do not change their state. For example, you have heard a lot of silica gel. So silica gel is an example of hygroscopic substance. So generally you have seen that whenever you buy bags or water bottles, so they contain small packets of silica gel just to protect these items from the moisture. So therefore silica gel is a hygroscopic substance. So hygroscopic substances have the tendency to absorb the moisture. So silica gel is a solid substance. Similarly, we have concentrated H2SO4. It is also a hygroscopic substance. So it is liquid and it is solid. So it does not change its state but absorb the moisture from atmosphere. So these are the hygroscopic substances. Now the next topic is drying agent. Drying agent are those substances which absorb the moisture from other substances and make them dry. For example, concentrated sulfuric acid is a drying agent. So what do the concentrated sulfuric acid do? It absorbs the moisture from the other substances. Generally, the hygroscopic substances are used as drying agent, like silica gel. Silica gel is a drying agent. Then we can use concentrated H2SO4, or we can use P2O5, that is phosphorus pentoxide. It is also a drying agent. Or CaCl2, anhydrous calcium chloride. It is also used as a drying agent. So drying agents are those substances which have the tendency to remove the moisture from other substances. So how do they remove the moisture from other substances? They absorb the moisture of other substances. So these substances are known as drying agents. So generally hygroscopic substances are used as drying agents. Now dehydrating agents, or you can say dehydrating substances. So dehydrating agents or dehydrating substances are quite different from drying agent. Drying agent absorb the moisture which is present in the form of water molecules. So they generally absorb the water. But dehydrating substances are those substances which absorb the components of water from the other molecules. They generally don't have moisture in the form of water, but they have the components of water, means they have hydrogen and oxygen. So these substances are called dehydrating agent. The most used dehydrating agent is concentrated sulfuric acid. So for example, C6H12O6. So this is the formula of glucose. Whenever glucose comes in contact with concentrated sulfuric acid, it loses the components of water. So you can see that actually there is no water in glucose molecule, but it contains the components of water, that is hydrogen and oxygen. So therefore it removes the components of water in the form of water. How? It will form C plus H2O. So it is removing the components of water. Similarly, if we have a reaction like C2H5OH, so if we will use concentrated H2SO4, it will remove the water molecules and it will form C2H4 plus H2O. So again, component of water, that is hydrogen and oxygen, is removed to give water. The difference in dehydrating agents and drying agent is that the drying agent remove the water molecules, means moisture from other substances, while dehydrating agent remove the components of water. So generally water is not there in that compound, but the components of water, means hydrogen and oxygen, is removed by dehydrating agent. So this is a huge difference between drying agents and dehydrating agents. You can see the examples of dehydrating agents and drying agents. So you can see that sulfuric acid can also used as drying agent as well as dehydrating agent. So hope you have understood the chapter. If you have any doubt, you can watch the video once again. If you have any queries, you can ask the questions in the comments. Thank you very much.